a very special guest. Her name is Danielle Colby, and would you guys give her a warm Wonderland welcome, everyone here in the bus?
Amped over at HistoryCon, taking in all the fantastic people and information. We have an awesome selection of people over there. So many people from the States that I hadn't even met in the States before. I was really
surprised.
surprised.
Really had to go to the Philippines to meet each other.
Which is so, it's just so incredible that I meet all of these people halfway across the world.
Danielle Colby is finally breaking her silence about Frank Fritz's departure from American Pickers, and what she has to say will leave you stunned. After years of unanswered questions and growing curiosity, Danielle is pulling back the curtain to reveal the truth. With raw emotion, profound insights, and a behind-the-scenes look, she's opening up like never before. You won't want to miss this exclusive revelation. For those who don't know, Danielle's rise to fame didn't happen overnight. It started back in 2010, when she became the backbone of the antique archaeology shop, holding down the fort while Mike and Frank ventured out on the road, hunting for forgotten treasures. While the guys were off on their picking adventures, Danielle was the unsung hero, working tirelessly behind the scenes to keep everything running smoothly, even though her hard work often went unnoticed. Mike and Frank were the dynamic duo at the heart of the show, with Mike's dreamer spirit and Frank's keen eye for detail. While Danielle wasn't the one out picking, she was just as essential in keeping things grounded. Their chemistry was undeniable from the start, and as the show grew, Danielle quietly observed it all, knowing that change was just around the corner. Now, she's ready to reveal her unfiltered perspective on everything that's happened, giving fans an exclusive look behind the scenes of American Pickers like never before. But Danielle wasn't just an observer, she was instrumental in managing the growing pains that came with the meteoric rise of American Pickers. As the show's popularity skyrocketed, the dynamics between Mike and Frank began to shift. Mike pushed for innovation, always looking for the next big thing, while Frank preferred to stick to a more steady approach. Danielle found herself right in the middle, carefully balancing both sides, brainstorming with Mike, checking in with Frank, and working tirelessly to maintain harmony as the show evolved in ways no one could have predicted. American Pickers wasn't just a success, it became a cultural phenomenon. What started as a humble, sometimes uncertain project quickly blossomed into a TV powerhouse. Mike was always the one driving the show forward, dragging Frank across barns and backyards in search of hidden gems. Meanwhile, Danielle was the engine keeping everything running behind the scenes, tracking down leads, coordinating schedules, and making sure everything operated without a hitch. After years of rejection, the History Channel finally took a chance on the show in 2010, and the rest, as they say, is history. When the premiere aired, 3.1 million viewers tuned in. Danielle's quiet shop in Leclerc soon became a must-visit destination, and her face was recognized everywhere. The rapid rise to fame was exciting, but also overwhelming. Danielle had to bring in extra help just to keep up with the demand. Still, amidst all the chaos, Mike and Frank kept reaching out, each call brimming with excitement over their latest finds. Those moments made the whirlwind worth every second. But Frank had his own unforgettable moments, too. One day, he stumbled upon an old fire extinguisher, and you'd think he'd uncovered a treasure chest of gold. Danielle couldn't help but laugh as she prepped the shop for the next quirky find. Yet, as the years passed, the carefree days of easy picking began to feel like a distant memory. The grueling schedule of filming 250 days a year, with endless hours spent on the road, started to wear them down. Danielle could hear it in Mike and Frank's voices during their calls. The exhaustion was creeping in. There was no denying it. They were tired, but even as burnout loomed, the thrill of the hunt kept them pushing forward, though that spark of excitement was slowly fading, replaced by the grind of routine. Fame hit everyone differently. Mike dove right in, embracing it with enthusiasm and even opening a new shop in Nashville, which quickly became the place to be. Danielle marveled at how far they had come. But then there was Frank, always the quiet one, remaining out of the spotlight back in Illinois. She'd tease him, calling him the quiet star, but their dynamic was undeniable. Mike was loud, driven, and always chasing the next big thing, while Frank was calm, reserved, and stayed firmly grounded. On screen, they balanced each other perfectly, with Danielle always there as the steady force holding it all together. As Danielle's own fanbase grew, so did her confidence. Her tattoos, unique style, and burlesque flair made her a fan favorite. But with the rise in popularity came unavoidable changes behind the scenes that she couldn't ignore. What used to be a fun, adventurous show was now a high-stakes production. Large crews, tight schedules, and mounting pressure became the norm. By 2015, the cost per episode had skyrocketed by $250,000. Mike pushed for bigger and better finds, always searching for something that would keep the audience captivated. Meanwhile, Frank wanted to stay true to the roots of the show. The small disagreements over this shift started to echo through the shop. Danielle tried to stay neutral, focusing on what she could control, the shop itself. She was the calm in the storm, the anchor everyone turned to. American Pickers had transformed into a nationwide sensation, but Danielle knew better than anyone that fame came with its own set of challenges. By 2017, something didn't feel quite right. The pressure of the show's success weighed heavily on everyone. Mike, always fully invested, started showing signs of stress. Every episode had to be a hit, and the constant pressure was taking its toll. Frank's calls became less frequent, and when he did call, he sounded drained. Danielle knew his ongoing battle with Crohn's disease was taking a severe toll on him. His stomach hurt constantly, and it was only getting worse. Although Frank rarely opened up about it, Danielle would check in on him. He'd brush it off with a simple, "Yeah, just tired," before quickly changing the subject. She never pushed him. Frank had always been a private person. But it was getting harder to ignore. The crew started noticing Frank was missing more days, and when he did show up, he looked worn out. Fans started to ask, "Where's Frank lately?" Danielle would smile and tell them he was out picking, but she could feel the weight of their questions. The truth was, Frank's body just couldn't keep up anymore. Then, one day, Frank snapped. He called, clearly upset about something Mike had said. "He's turning this into a circus," Frank complained. Danielle tried to stay neutral, attempting to calm him down, but Frank abruptly hung up. She didn't mention the conversation to Mike. It wasn't her fight, but the tension between the two was palpable. Danielle couldn't shake the feeling that the rift between Frank and Mike had grown too deep to fix. Despite it all, Danielle kept the shop running smoothly, acting as though everything was fine. Fans saw the episodes and believed everything was as it appeared, Mike and Frank laughing, discovering hidden treasures, but Danielle knew the truth. It was all edited. She'd watch the episodes and think, "That's not the full story." But she remained silent, choosing to stay out of the drama. Mike would stop by with new ideas, but Frank, he wasn't around as much anymore. Danielle missed the days when they were all in it together. By 2019, it was clear that something major was on the horizon. Frank's health was deteriorating. He missed more shoots, and the crew scrambled to adjust. Mike kept pushing forward, but Danielle could hear the frustration in his voice. "I wish Frank was here," he'd say. The show had become a well-oiled machine, but it wasn't slowing down for anyone. Danielle could feel the tension rising, but there was nothing she could do to fix it. Then, in March 2020, everything changed. Frank's final episode aired, and Danielle heard the news from Mike. "Frank's done," Mike said quietly. Danielle didn't press for details. She could tell from his tone that he was feeling the weight of it all. She had seen it coming, but that didn't make it any easier. Frank had been there from the beginning, and now the show would never be the same without him. Later, Frank spoke out, revealing that he hadn't spoken to Mike in 2 years, blaming both his health struggles and what he saw as Mike's lack of support. Danielle didn't entirely buy that version of events. She had seen Mike rearrange shoots to accommodate Frank, but she understood why Frank might feel that way. He was in constant pain, and maybe he needed more than just schedule changes. Danielle didn't reach out to Frank. She wasn't one to get involved in drama. As fans started to question Frank's departure online, Danielle remained silent, focusing on running the shop and sharing posts about vintage treasures. She didn't want to take sides. Mike had always been her buddy, but so had Frank. She hated seeing him go. She'd check in with Mike from time to time, asking, "How's it going?" He'd respond simply, "We're managing." She never asked about Frank. It felt too raw. The truth was messy, and there was so much more to it than anyone realized. Frank's battle with Crohn's disease had been brutal. 17 hospital visits in 2 years, plus rehab for alcohol in 2020. Danielle didn't think Frank was a screw-up. She knew that pain could change people. Danielle often thought back to the days when Frank would light up over a find. His energy was infectious. That version of Frank seemed to fade, and it was hard to watch. Mike kept filming, bringing in new faces, but it wasn't the same. Danielle missed Frank's vibe, even if he had become grumpy toward the end. Yet whispers about Frank's health continued to circulate. While Danielle didn't reach out, she couldn't help but hope for his recovery, even from afar. Though her post silenced the noise, the emotional weight of the situation lingered. Mike continued the show, and Danielle stood by him, but the silence between her and Frank only grew. It wasn't just about drama, it was about real, lasting pain. Danielle's candid post reshaped the narrative. Instead of fueling speculation, she highlighted the true struggles of friendship and health. Frank's departure wasn't about personal grudges, it was about the toll his health had taken. Mike's unwavering support, despite the distance that had grown between them, was a testament to the deep bond they had shared. Danielle's openness about Frank's illness changed how I saw the whole situation. It wasn't about jealousy or competition, it was about years of silent suffering and strain. She didn't point fingers, she called for understanding and compassion, offering a more nuanced perspective. This story serves as a powerful reminder that the hardest battles are often fought in private, hidden from the public eye.